Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Callie. I've been a little bit behind the scenes. I have Ari and Megan joining me today, so I'm sure that you've had a lot of communication and everything with them. Just to kick things off appropriately, I just want to make sure that you can hear us okay. So in the meantime, if you can hear and you have your audio all activated, can you let us know where you're joining us from? I'm in Lakewood, Colorado. So we actually have some sunny skies today. All of our snow is starting to melt. Awesome.
Hello,
Helen, you're
Helen
joining us
from
from
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, Seattle. Got people all over the world today. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Ari for a minute just to provide us with a quick introduction now that I know you can hear us.
Hi, everybody. This is the first one of these that we've done with the MSA, but by far from the first one that we've done with vendors. We do these kind of sessions every few days with groups of vendors who are working with agencies and with other entities. So this is something that we know really well. We're really excited about the marketplace launching in 10 days, 11 days, which is quite exciting. Just so you know, there's already somewhere around 90 vendors that are loading data in. We're going to get some more statistics out. We have about 150 that have signed the contract. This is going to be a thriving marketplace. So you'll get the recording of this afterwards, so you can use it as a reference. But we're going to get everybody up and cooking, and we're excited. So I'll pass it back to Callie, and I'm going to turn off my camera, but I'm going to be here, and I'll be here for questions as well at the end. So have fun.
Thank you, Ari. All right, so obviously you should see from my screen, we're here to talk about the Museum Store Association and that marketplace and everything that's kicking off. I know that you guys have had some questions around just how everything works. So we will have a few people, including Todd, our CEO and president, helping to answer questions throughout. As anything comes up, feel free to just ask them. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get everything started so we can just respect your time. So your single sign-on is here. You may have seen this already with that document and everything that you received from Megan a few weeks back. You guys have had by far so much communication around just how everything works, but I know that it's still kind of a little overwhelming with all these changes and everything coming at you at one time. So Brandwise Passport is truly going to be that area where you can access all the tools that you're going to need to make sure that you're ready to go as soon as the MSA Marketplace launches. Megan, did you have anything that you wanted to add to this specifically?
No, what I want to say is we can kind of reference everything in the guide that was previously sent to everybody that has signed their contract. So I'll just be kind of jumping in and pointing out where the reference is within that guide, so you guys can use that moving forward as well.
Perfect, thank you. So you might be wondering, what is Brandwise Passport? So Brandwise Passport is the hub that's going to connect everybody in the Brandwise ecosystem. This is including the Museum Store Association, any agencies that you may currently work with, you as a supplier, and any retailers that are going to be going and shopping the MSA Marketplace. So you have this way that you can control and make sure that all of your contact information is correct. You can see all your connections in one place, and then you're also able to go on here and just obviously upload all of your different products and everything, because it's going to be your single sign-on to all the different services and everything that you're using through Brandwise. Transit is going to be where you're going to go to upload your product file. Transit also saves the product file for you, which makes future updates even easier. You can actually upload the product file the first time. I know that's probably the most complicated part for a lot of the ones that I've worked with individually. And then this perfectly formatted product file is going to be shared with the MSA Marketplace and any of your existing agencies that you might work with via the Brandwise Passport. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do that today, so you guys don't have to get super overwhelmed and bogged down by the details yet. We're going to walk through everything. Content management is a free service that's provided to all Brandwise customers. This is where you're going to be able to upload your images so that they'll get populated onto the MSA Marketplace. So I'll just kind of show you a little bit of how that works, and we'll reference some of those videos and everything, like Megan mentioned, in that guide that you guys received. Stream is going to be the product that allows you to view and retrieve any of your Brandwise orders that you receive from the MSA Marketplace. These are all stored for you in an easy to use order dashboard. So you'll be able to kind of view everything there. Things don't get lost in email. Should really help to save you time and a lot of customer service calls and everything like that once the marketplace launches. So you might be wondering why you should use these tools. You obviously know your product's the best. Ensure the MSA Marketplace has the most current images, detailed product information, and this will allow retailers to be able to see your line and shop most effectively. More sales are occurring virtually and online, as you may know, so just make sure that your retailers can see it. We're going to kind of go through a few examples when we actually show you the MSA Marketplace today of some of you that are already doing a great job at this and some of you that are well on your way because you've created your passport, but there's obviously some room for improvement. So we'll kind of walk through all of that. Like I mentioned with Stream, this will cut down on customer service calls. You have all your orders and everything in one place. You get all the payment information delivered securely over to that dashboard. So when you're looking to actually process any of those orders, you're going to be able to do that all within your Brandwise passport. And then all this information is populating Play, which is a direct order capture platform. And Megan and Ari, you might be able to speak to this a little bit more too, but you guys are going to have access to that soon. Reach, which is what the marketplace, the MSA Marketplace is actually hosted on, is our new Reach B2B e-commerce site. And then the forthcoming global marketplace that we just mentioned yesterday, if you happen to be one of the suppliers that was on our call. To understand what's missing, you do have a couple resources at your disposal. You can always send a request to support@brandwise.com. We can get you access to a missing image report. And then you're also going to have browse only mode on the MSA Marketplace. So you'll be able to see if you have some of your images, but not all of your images up there, then you'll be able to see exactly which ones you need to go back into content management and load. If you need additional support getting started, obviously some of you have already started reaching out to our support team, so that's always a resource for you. We'll also be providing some additional resources if you want to set up one-on-one calls just to kind of get a better understanding of how this works. Then we're happy to kind of walk you through the process that way as well. But now we're going to switch over to sign into the Brandwise Passport. How many of you that are on the call today have actually gone ahead and already created your passport? If you just want to answer quickly in that chat window, I'm going to go ahead and switch screens so that I can go into passport. Helen, looks like you have. Dan, Claire, you guys all have set up your passport, so thank you so much for doing that. Katie, great. So we have a few of you that have started to set up your passport, which is awesome. So a lot of this might look a little bit familiar to you then. Gonna switch over into, maybe. I'm gonna switch over to Google. And out of this presentation. Okay, so this is brandwise.com. I imagine that some of you might be pretty familiar with brandwise.com so far, since you've probably seen this referenced in some of your materials and everything that you have. So we have the passport sign-in that you can immediately access here. You should also be able to access this directly from that guide that you received as well. Megan, do you know exactly where on that page they'd find that information?
Yeah, it's actually within the very second page. It's just basically step number 1, create your Brandwise passport.
Awesome. So we would go over to this passport sign in, and then we can create a passport. So if you haven't already created yours, you're going to click on this button to say don't have a Brandwise passport. And then you can go through this process and create one. We're just going to collect a little bit of information from you to get this process started. So let me go ahead and get one. Just do this instead. So going through all the screens. I'm gonna add my email.
Callie, your screen isn't visible.
Oh, sorry.
You might want to go back a couple of steps.
Here you go. Okay, so I will just go back over to the beginning here. Okay. So because I haven't created a passport yet, it doesn't recognize my email. If I have already created one, it would kind of reference and let you know, oh, it looks like you already exist here. So you would just try to put in your password, and if you don't have that information, then you'd be able to adjust it as you needed to. So I'll go ahead and put in my information. And then from here, this is all the information that we're collecting to set up your passport for the first time. So if you want to just put in your first name, last name, and contact phone number, if any of this is wrong, you'll be able to edit this information later. But it's important that you choose an email address that's going to kind of stick with you, because that is one thing that you will not be able to change right away. So we're going to go ahead and click confirm email. Sometimes with Google, it takes a little bit longer to retrieve that email, but I'm going to go ahead and take a look to see if I retrieved it and show you what that would look like. Okay. So then this is that email that I just received from Brandwise Passport welcoming me to Brandwise Passport. It's just going to have you confirm your email address. So you click on that confirm email button, and then from there you'd be able to set up your password. You're just going to want to follow all of these different requirements and everything that you see here, making sure that you have at least 8 characters, some upper and lowercase letters, and at least 1 number. You can also add those extra characters if you want to just make it more secure. So we'll save it. And then from here, it's going to have me sign into the Brandwise Passport. So when you first log in, if this is as far as you've made it through the process, you're going to see this screen that's informing you to connect your business. So overall, to do that, you would just be able to click on this button here. Like I was saying before, some of that information that you're able to edit, you'd go into your passport profile, and then I could edit this information as I needed to. So you could see I can change my first name, or for instance, I got married, so I can change my last name and add the additional last name that I added in when I got married. You can update your phone number and so forth, and then save this information, and then it's going to update all that automatically for you. So then to add your business to Brandwise Passport, you're just going to click on that button. From here,
sorry, this is going to be found on the 3rd page of the vendor guide, where it just says connect your business to your passport.
Awesome. And also with that too, Megan, you guys sent the credentials to them as well, right?
Exactly. Yep. So all of that was individually sent once you signed up for your passport. I got a notification, and then I manually sent out one individual email to everybody with their credentials and next steps.
Perfect.
You mean when they signed their contract, Megan? You said when they signed up for their passport, when they signed their contract, they got that.
So when you've completed all these steps, you're going to go down to the bottom here and you're going to want to select supplier, also referred to as vendor, brand, manufacturer, factory, maker. So you'd select this one, and then that's going to be where you put in these credentials that Megan mentioned. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some credentials that I have. Now you're going to see it's migrating all of this company information. So if you're setting this up for the very first time and you're not just like another team member that is getting assigned to the company, then it's going to have you verify all of your business information and make sure that it all looks correct. If you're just becoming like another team member that's associated with that company, then it's going to be able to just add you in and start loading your dashboard, as I think that's what this is doing for me now. So sometimes this process takes a couple minutes because this is just pulling from some of our other software. So I'm not going to save this, but now you can see I've automatically been connected to Corksicle. So now when I have this all set up, most of this should then look familiar to those of you that said that you have created your passport, you've connected your business and everything. This should be what you see when you sign in for the first time, that you're getting connected appropriately. If you want to switch over to start doing any business on behalf, you can see your name here in the top right and this little drop down arrow. So you're going to be able to hover over that and then switch over to your business profile in Passport, and that'll take you in and show you any of the agencies that you're connected to, as well as the Museum Store Association, so that you know that when you're doing any of the process and stuff like that through transit or content management, all that information is going to get shared with all of the people that you're connected to. So in some cases, you guys might only see that you're connected to the Museum Store Association. In others, you may be able to see multiple like this. So if you're having any concerns about not getting connected appropriately, I always recommend reaching out to support@brandwise.com, and we can kind of just look into making sure that we can get you connected as you need to. Some other things that you're going to want to see in here. Any other team members that are assigned to this, you're going to see listed in here. So I have myself, Todd's in here as well, and then your business profile. So there's some functionality that's going to be coming to you guys, I believe next week, where you're going to be able to edit your profile information on behalf of the business. So let's say, because Todd set this up first, maybe some of this information has changed, or now instead of in Unit 2, we're in Unit 201 or something. We'll be able to update this information as we need to. So you can edit this here. And then some of the other functionality that you guys are going to have through the MSA Marketplace, like your brand profile, lifestyle image, and so forth, you're actually going to be able to see and update a lot of that information through this as well. Todd, I know I have you on here with me. Is there anything that you want to kind of speak to or show off specifically about this for some of that future functionality they can look for?
Yep, hopefully you can hear me.
Yep.
Okay, trying to juggle between computers that have bad connections. So the functionality is it should come out hopefully Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Will allow you, as you mentioned, to edit all of that information, which will include the ability to put in some brand information. So you can type in 350 characters about your brand, and that will show up on the marketplace. And when Callie gets into that, we can show you where. And then you'll see your lifestyle image, which a bunch of you guys are sending right now. I'm getting those uploaded. So that's what shows up on the main page. So you'll be able to view that. And then shortly after that, within probably the next 3 or 4 weeks, you'll be able to actually go in and create and update the lifestyle image on your own. So instead of having to send it through the link, if you wanted to do it seasonally or monthly or whenever you had some new stuff, you'd be able to do that as well. So that's some of the new stuff that's coming.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd.
Yep.
So I'll go back over into this and then just kind of start walking you guys through some of this. So if you're not familiar with that lifestyle image, you should be able to reference this to Megan in that guide. But this is that link where you can go and upload your lifestyle image. So if you haven't already done that, this kind of just walks you through some of the requirements and everything that we're looking for. You'd be able to just input all that information here, And as Todd mentioned, we're still taking care of this process for you. But as soon as you submit this over to us, then we'll get that populated onto that new site for you. I'm going to switch over into another Passport account really quick, just so that I don't mess with anything with that uploading a product file in transit. I'll walk you guys through this process. So I'm going to switch over into this one and start uploading a product file here. On this page, it's going to take you through some specific messaging. So I think we've had a lot of questions and everything around what product status means and so forth. So we're trying to make this as detailed as possible for you, just so that you're pretty familiar with how this all works. But all this information is just kind of taking you into some of these recommended steps before you go through the process of actually uploading the product file. So I'll kind of review that in greater detail with you guys. Just to kind of reiterate before we open up that template, active is going to be anything that you want to make appear and immediately available for sale on the MSA Marketplace. Discontinued is going to be items that you still have active and available for sale, but maybe once you're out of stock, you're no longer going to be restocking those items, so they will become inactive. Any products that you decide to make inactive, you will need to update in transit first. And then if you know for sure that you're no longer going to be bringing those back, you can remove them from the master product file. So I kind of say the master product file because I know that there's been a little bit of confusion around this as well. Every single time that you're uploading a product file in transit, it needs to be a complete product file containing all of the information that you're going to use. So covering all of your different products. So even if you have maybe a few new products that you've added to your lineup, you're going to want to make sure that they're included on this one. So I'll go ahead and download that template for you, just so that we can kind of walk through that pretty quickly. Have any of you uploaded a product file in transit yet? Awesome, I got 2 of you that have so far, so I'm sure a lot of this will be familiar. So this is that template, 3 of you. Awesome. So I see some of you already working with our support team too. If you guys, hopefully you can learn a little bit more from this call as well, and that'll help you guys through this process. You can see that transit, we only require very minimal actual required fields. These are the ones that are highlighted here in green. I think a lot of these are going to look familiar to you, but like I mentioned, the product status might be one that's kind of not as familiar. So this one is a required field because obviously we want to know that this is available for sale. Inactive is the only way to actually remove it from your site. Some of the time there's been a little bit of confusion around this too. You can either call them 1, 2, or 3, or active, discontinued, or inactive within that column. So whatever's going to be easier for you to remember about those products, but you can use both of these interchangeably. I find that sometimes the numbers are just kind of easier, so you don't have to type in full words. But if you're an Excel master, like some of the people on our team, you may not be as concerned about that aspect of it. So those are some things to keep in mind with your product status. Most of these, though, I think are going to be pretty familiar in terms of the pricing and everything. Do any of you really handle price breaks? And if you're not, oh, and somebody asked to clarify, if I want to delete a product in the future, would I remove it from my template or mark it inactive? So to clarify, you will mark it inactive. And then once you've marked it inactive, you can delete it after you've uploaded the product file in transit. So you don't always just have to keep all these inactive ones on your master sheet. You'll just need to do it the first time so that it'll actually get removed from the MSA Marketplace. But definitely a good question. I don't think many of you actually do price breaks, but if you do, we're happy to walk through that. We have a separate video on that too that we're going to get loaded into the support center for you guys, just so that you can see that, and we'll get you more details and stuff around it if we haven't given you full access to that yet. But yeah, so the basic pricing, you'll have your base pricing and your quantity that you need in order to actually get that price. Obviously, if you have multiple price breaks, that's just meaning that you may get a further discount depending on how much quantity you've actually added to your order, or the retailer's added to their order in this case. Your SKU is obviously that unique identifier. Product name is just the short title for your product. Status, I think we've reviewed in good detail for you guys. And then the order quantity increment is just the order that it's going to have to follow. So let's say everything has to be in increments of 3, and then you want to add another one to your cart. It's all going to be in increments of 3. So you're going to see that reflected on the MSA Marketplace when we go over there in a little bit. Some of these recommended fields we put in specifically as a result of COVID and everything that changed with that. So some of that to include available date, as well as quantity on hand information. So if you do already have this, I always recommend that you use as many of these recommended fields for what you actually have. And a lot of this will actually get more useful too in terms of the functionality that's going to be coming to the MSA Marketplace here pretty quickly in terms of your item description long, because when you do go to look at more detailed information around the products, then you'll be able to have this description around it. So this one ends up being super useful to have available date, especially if you know that some of your best-selling products you might not necessarily have in stock and available right now, but it still is an active one. You would just put whatever that future date is for it. So if this one you currently don't have today, but you know you're going to have by November 6th, then you would just put November 6th on that part of that column. And then quantity on hand, if you do have this available, I think it's most useful around the ones for discontinued products, because it just kind of gives a good gauge of how many you actually have left that are available for sale. But obviously, if you have this information for all of your products, it's always good to have. It just may require that you're updating this in transit daily, just so that retailers, when they're shopping on the MSA Marketplace, have the most detailed information around what is actually available for them to purchase right away. So we provide all the definitions and stuff around these products and everything in here. Recommend that you check it out. If you have any questions, feel free to just kind of shoot them in here. And then Todd, can you speak a little bit to that question that came in from Kelly too?
Just 1 sec, let me have a peek at it.
It's how do you recommend handling products that are made to order with a 2-week lead time?
So a couple different things. We're in the process now of adding a line item note, which will help with some notes about that stuff. But you can set, when one of the things that Callie was showing, there's availability date on product. So if your product's going to be, well, I guess it's based on custom product. So they'll add all of that stuff into the cart, and it'll come through that way. I don't know that. I guess I'll ask a follow-on question. What would the expectation be coming into your ERP? Would it just typically be something that is going to just back order from the rest if it's a 2-week lead time, or how would you normally handle that?
Yeah, she said yes, exactly. I'd rather not update the availability date every day.
Okay. So I think what's going to happen for now, Kelly, is it's just going to come through as on the order with all the rest of the items, and then you'll ship what you can, and that will just remain open in your ERP, would be my guess on how that could work. We could certainly chat more about it, but I think if you want them all to be on the same order with the same ship date, then that'll be something probably just dealt with better in the ERP. Okay, perfect.
The last thing that you'll need to keep in mind is obviously right now we're formatting this and everything through Excel, but you will need to convert this to a text file in order to upload that information into Transit. So the last bit of the guidelines, we just show you how to save your product file as a text file. On the second page, we have that actual template and everything for you too. So you don't have to necessarily keep this in this order. When you're going to go through mapping everything in Transit, it's not really going to matter. We're going to format it the way that it needs to in order for it to appear on the MSA Marketplace. But you obviously will have to have all of these green ones that are your required fields. And then any of the recommended ones that you're going to be using, I recommend that you keep in there. If you're not going to be using some of these columns, you can just remove them all together, and that'll make the mapping process for you even easier within Transit. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to Transit. If you wanted to get more detailed information around the recommended fields and what exactly all that actually means, we have that glossary available for you here, so you can download that. And then this is just giving you some more detailed information around what Transit does. I know that a lot of our products have all these different names, so we're trying to be very descriptive so that you understand what each of them do for you. So I'm going to click this button to upload the product file. I'm on a Mac, so I always like to drag and drop things into here, but you can also choose your product file by searching for it. And I guess one other thing to keep in mind too, I usually always use Google Chrome by default, so I don't think about it very often, but Google Chrome tends to be the most reliable for everything within Brandwise Passport and the MSA Marketplace and so forth. So that's always going to be the top one that we recommend. But if you have like Edge Chromium or Safari that you're using because you're on a Mac, those ones should work for you as well. So I'll just drop that in there. So you can see I've already saved this one as a text file. I'm going to go to upload. And then from here, I guess I have uploaded this one in here before. I didn't think I did. So that's kind of what I was talking about, where it'll save a lot of this for you if it recognizes that you've been here before. You would select your delimiter. So we show you how to save it as a tab delimiter, but you may use comma or pipe, depending. That's just what's separating all of the information. And then I always think that it's really helpful to have the column headers, just because then it'll make it easier when you're actually mapping everything. So rather than it showing column 1, column 2, column 3, if you just check that box to say the first row's column headers, it'll make it easier as you're going through the mapping process. So you click next. I'm just going to remove these settings for you, but you can see that that's how Transit was saving everything. If you do accommodate for price breaks, this is where you're going to put it in now. So with this product file that I'm using, I do have price breaks within it. You can have up to 5 for Transit. It doesn't seem like a lot of you actually use price breaks, so I don't want to cause more confusion. I'll just kind of go through some of the basics with it. So you would just select the first one that you're looking to map just by literally clicking on it. And then from there, you're now seeing all these plus signs actually appear on this side. So I'm just going to map it to the correct field by clicking on that plus sign. If I put it in the wrong one, let's say I mapped price over to SKU, you can always just hit these minus signs and then map it as you need to. Some other things that I think are super helpful in here, if you don't know what these mean, or maybe somebody else is going to be the one that's uploading the product file in Transit, you can hover over these question marks and it'll show you the definition for what each of these items mean. And then you can also hover over the question mark on this side and it'll show you what your data has, what data is actually populated in that column. So let's say you're not using the column headers and you do have the column 1, 2, 3. These question marks are going to become your best friend just so that you know that you're mapping everything to the correct column. So it's just kind of a little bit of a matching game that you guys are going to play here in Transit. We'll go on to the next step. You can see here, when I remove everything, it's actually not going to allow me to go to the next step until I've actually done everything properly. So you're just going to go ahead and just continue matching. Just like that. So now instead of that being grayed out, now I have that orange button, so I can go on to the next step, get into my recommended ones. And then this is what I was mentioning before, where you might call these different columns something different than what we call them here in Transit. So barcode, you guys might associate with UPC like we have set up on this file. It doesn't have to match perfectly. Transit is not going to fault you for any of that. Let's see if there's unit of measure.
Hey, Callie, did you show, you may have already shown this, how you can hover over the question mark and it will show you the data that you've loaded, like
Yep.
for UPC. Okay, perfect.
So you got all of this. We'll go on to the next step. And now it's going to review this product file for me. So in this case, I have one with duplicate barcodes, which may be the case for a lot of you as well. If you have any that have like maybe your sample products share the same barcode, you can actually allow it to upload duplicate barcodes and everything for you. And now instead of it being red, it'll be yellow. So it'll allow me to actually complete this one. Because I have already uploaded this product file in the past, it's not going to let me upload it again because it's not seeing that any of the information has changed. If you do have any errors or anything that come up with it, you can save all those to Excel so that you can go back in and fix it. And if you guys are just literally kind of testing this out, making sure that you can kind of get familiar with how Transit works, you can click this back to upload button and it'll take you all the way up to step 1 again and have you walk through everything. So you don't have to submit your product file every single time if you're just kind of testing everything out and seeing how it all works. When you are clicking on this complete upload button, this is going to distribute it to the MSA Marketplace and any of the agencies that you work with. So just make sure that when you are ready to complete the upload that it is actually ready to go, so that the agency or the MSA Marketplace isn't getting like 10 files. I just heard that happening this time for the first time this week. So just wanted to make sure if you guys are testing some of this out. So once you've finished uploading and doing all of that, it'll give you a message to let you know that this has been properly shared with the MSA Marketplace. And then all of your information is going to appear over onto the actual MSA Marketplace so you can check and see how everything looks. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back over into the other one where I just set up Corksicle, just so that you guys can kind of see that browse only mode on the MSA Marketplace. So if you click on this shop button under your business connections to the MSA Marketplace, it's going to open up that page there. And oh, I'm in like too many different passports, so it's confused. Hang on a second. Okay, so you can see I'm in browse mode. So this is what I was referring to before. When you've uploaded a product file in here, you're going to be able to see that information immediately get populated. You're only going to see your business information. This is just so that you can literally test to make sure that everything looks the way that you expect it to. So if you've been one of the ones that have shared your lifestyle image with us, this is that lifestyle image that we're referring to. We click into here, then you can see under this, you're going to have the brand profile information. So right now this is a blank white space, but you'll be able to control this from the business information under your supplier connection and passport. Your lifestyle image and everything, obviously you'll be able to see what this looks like from your Brandwise passport going forward. And I can actually go ahead and I can scroll through. I can't add anything to the cart or so forth, but I can at least just make sure that all the names and everything look appropriate, that I'm not missing any images. Oops, looks like I am. So I'd be able to kind of see which ones are missing so that I can go back in and I can be like, okay, this one is missing, so I'm going to need to go into content management and upload that image. So this should be super useful for you guys. If you wanted to look at more on a page, then you could literally load up to 84 just so that you can see as many as possible. And then sometimes, like, let's say that you're scrolling through this and instead of only seeing that you're missing like 1 or 2 or 3 in this case, let's say that you're missing already like 20 and it's a lot for you to go and like write this all down. That's when I recommend reaching out to support so that they can just send you the missing image report, and then you can get a better idea of which ones you're still going to need to go ahead and get in there and upload.
Hey,
So
just two quick things, Callie, to that. A couple more updates that are coming out. So if you look at that Canteen 16 ounce missing the image, we're actually coming out with a missing image. So it's a camera, it's like a camera view with a line through it. So it shows that there should be an image there. It doesn't look it fills the screen a bit better. And then the other thing that's coming out next week will be the ability to click on those product cells and get the detail view. So it'll give you a much bigger view of your product and allow the retailer to zoom in. So those are some things that are coming next week that if you were on any of the webinars this week, you saw how that's going to look, but that's coming next week. Just FYI.
And on this screen, if you do want to see your images bigger, you can just hit this button up here and you can kind of see it. But the even bigger version of your image is going to be coming next week, like Todd was mentioning. So you'll be able to actually click on one of these and then it'll take you into the more detailed product information, a bigger view of your products and so forth, just so that you could see what that looks like and retailers could see what that looks like. And then if you have any specific campaigns or anything like that that you're trying to do, or get retailers more specific information around that product after they purchase it, then you can share those specific links around it so that they can utilize all that information. I see a few of you, and I know from talking with support this week that some of these questions you're working through with them as well too. So Todd, we have a question from Helen. A part of my collections is making made to order scarves, matching exhibitions, etc. How do I communicate this best? It is a part that requires more detailed co-working. So I think those order line item notes is one of the ways you'll be able to do that, but also that long description when you have that detailed product information. But if you have any other ideas for that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a matter of both. So you'll be able to put in the detailed description in the for when they click on it and get the detail view, much more information about it. And then we have in our existing, in our legacy systems, but are just, getting it on the roadmap for the new stuff to get the line item notes, where if you're requesting that the retailer go in and pick something and then they need to type something in, like I want this on the left shoulder, or this is what I want it to say, that would come through in the line item notes. So that's not available yet, but that's coming down the pike in our roadmap. So I think either of the two of those would probably help.
Awesome, thank you. We also have another question about some of the future functionality coming from Amy. Will we ever have the option to add more text in our transit file? In situations with only a small amount of text allowed and only one photo, we usually get a lot of questions.
Yeah, so what we have two things on the roadmap that relate to that. One is multiple images. And when I speak about the roadmap, if I don't say that it's coming in the next few weeks, it's not currently being worked on, but it's in our future roadmap. So we work in 3-week increments where we deliver product. So the multi-image is definitely on that. And then what Callie was speaking about with regards to the more robust information that's in the product detail, that's already in the optional section of transit, where you can put the selling description 1 and 2 in, and selling description 2 is a longer field, and that will give you more detail that can go in there now. And then as soon as that release comes out next week, then the retailers will be able to see that in that bigger cell.
Awesome. So one of the questions that you're asking, Lacey, I'm actually going to get to in a second for you guys. So I'll kind of show you how that works, but I know that you're kind of curious. When you're going over to your browse screen, it's showing that it's blank when you're checking it. My only follow-up question, I guess, to this so far is if you've uploaded a product file yet. And typically what will appear is that it'll say that no products found. So if that's the case, it just means that you haven't uploaded your product file yet. As soon as you do that, it should populate with all this information, but I'll show you guys all of what that looks like here in a second. I'm going to go back over into this passport view to just kind of show off some of this other stuff. So
hey, while you're doing that, I'm going to answer Vicky's question at the bottom regarding quantity price.
Okay.
So you say you offer a discount for placing an order of 5 or more. So one of the other fields that you can add are quantity price breaks. So you can enter those in through your transit file as well, where you can say that for a product, if you get to a certain threshold or thresholds, the price comes down. So maybe it's, if you buy up to 5, it's $10. If you buy 5 to 10, it's $8. If you buy 10 to 20, it's $7, $6. That's all handled in transit. So Vicky, if you have questions about that, it'll show it in those the documents that we put in, or we can help you with that through support as well. But that's how that's handled.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
So I switched back over into this just in case, just to kind of show off how you're going to access Stream. So Stream, like I mentioned, is that order dashboard where you're going to go and retrieve any of your orders. So you're going to be able to see anything that's coming through this way. This does open in a new tab for you, as you're going to see indicated here. So if you don't see this opening in a second tab for some reason, it may just mean that you have pop-ups enabled. So if you are on Google Chrome, which is obviously what I like to use, typically you'll have like a little red X that'll be appearing here, and you can just click on it and then just allow pop-ups from brandwise.com, and then just try clicking on stream again, and then it should open that second tab for you. So that's going to be how that access to that works. And then content is going to actually open content management for you. So that single sign-on that I mentioned, you now have through this. You can go over into upload, and this is going to be where you go to upload those images. So if you look at this view here, I'll just try to make this smaller so that you guys can see it bigger. The image specs, this will tell you exactly like what type of product images you're going to need. Most of them should just be the JPEGs. And then the other important thing to keep in mind is that the image file name has to be the same name as your SKU number. That's going to be the way that it actually matches all the information that you provided in transit. If you have one image that you need to upload, then you can just upload one by one. Or if you have a whole file of images to upload, you can upload like that whole folder. And then let's say you have hundreds of images that you need to upload. Maybe this is your first time walking through that step. Then you're going to be able to upload a zip file as well. So we have a video on exactly how this works. You guys should have access to this on your guide as well. Megan, can you reference where that is on the guide?
I sure can. So it should be one of the very last pages, and it's labeled just uploading your images using content management. It's step 6.
Perfect. So that's where this is going to be, that area where you're going to go to do that. So you would just open up content management, click on uploads, click on images, and then it'll take you into the screen where you can upload them. It'll give you a little checkbox to let you know once that upload is complete. But just keep in mind, if you were to leave after this call and immediately go to upload your images, it may take up to 24 hours to process. Some of the other things that could affect that upload for you as well too is going to be if you maybe have things that are getting cached. So sometimes, like if you are using Google Chrome, I recommend opening an incognito window because then that'll actually allow you to like log into your passport again and just see if those images truly aren't appearing or if it's just something with your browser. The other thing that you can do if you're in Chrome, I'll just kind of expand my screen to share my whole screen really quick. You can go up here, maybe, there we go, and to history, and then you'd be able to do show full history. It'll open up another tab for you, and you can clear your browsing data. So any of like your cookies or anything and the cached images and files, you can clear all that data, and then that should be allowing it to actually appear for you properly within the browse only feature on the MSA Marketplace. I'm not going to do this right now because otherwise it's going to sign me out of everything, but I just want to make sure that you guys know how to do this for yourself just in case you need to. So I'll go ahead and close this. And then we can just go right into the MSA Marketplace for you guys, because I think we've kind of walked through everything for you, and I want to make sure that you actually get to see what retailers see when they're signing into the MSA Marketplace. So when we're talking about those lifestyle images specifically, we can see here that some of you have already started the process of providing us with your lifestyle images, so thank you so much for that. This is really what is going to show off your brand and everything long before a retailer even comes in here to shop and look through things. Any of you that are missing that image, like I said, you can just go over into this link that's provided for you in your guide and upload your image, and we'll get that uploaded for you. If you did just submit your lifestyle image while we're on the call, because we're still manually doing this process for you, give us a little bit of time, I'm sure it'll be up for you by the end of the day. but a lot of you are doing a really good job of at least setting up your passport, getting your lifestyle images in, so we appreciate it more than you know. I know that the big goal is to get everything up and available on the MSA Marketplace by November 6th, so that when this site actually launches on the 10th, you'll be all ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and start walking through this, and I'm going to ask Ari to come back and join us officially, so that we can kind of go through some of the good examples and some of the things that we want to see better and show off how the search functionality works.
So let's start with, so Callie, you're going to be the, you're going to click or I'm going to click?
I will click and then you can just guide me.
Okay,
And
so let's, you can go back into the marketplace.
okay, here we go.
All right, so there's a lot of companies that are connected, which is really exciting. Not to pick on anybody, but we're just going to use the first three that are up there as a couple of examples of what's good, what's not good. So let's start off with 1,000 museums. 1,000 museums. This means that you've connected to the marketplace. But when you click on the link, wait, how'd that go to Corksicle?
This is why you don't create multiple passports. It gets super confusing.
I can do it if you want. If you want to do my screen, I can share mine, Callie.
Maybe that might be better. Mine is all confused now ever since I did the caching stuff. So
no problem. All right, let's make me a presenter.
There you go.
I want to go with screen 2. Okay. All right, are you looking at the MSA Marketplace?
Yep, we are.
All right, great. Okay, so here we have, there's all the lines. This is, there's more, this will look a little bit different when it actually launches next week, with how the brands are shown in the search bar and so on. But let's just take a look here at Alliance. We have 1,000 museums. We click on 1,000 museums and they don't have any products. So that means that 1,000 Museum has connected, but they haven't yet put any products into transit. Let's go back to the main group. Well, let's look at Andrea Reinders. Andrea has loaded her file in transit, which means that the product information is in there, but she hasn't connected any images to it through content management. And then let's look at Annette's collection. Annette has her lifestyle image, and she's loaded her product through transit, and she's put her images on, and the customers will be ready to shop. So this is what it looks like, which is really exciting. Now I want to show you just a little bit of the functionality. So let's say somebody has a exhibit on mushrooms. So as we know, museum buyers often will buy for a topic, a theme, color, or something else that's going on. So this is what the museum buyer says, do you have anything with roses on it or whatever? So let's just say mushroom. So they put in mushroom, and now they're going to see products from Peter Popper Press, Joe Cool, New York Puzzle Company, Hot Socks, and Ebu, and Atlas Screen Printing, and Ebu. So we've got about 5 or 6 different suppliers here. So how will they shop? They'll start shopping, add to cart, add a few different things from a few different suppliers. They'll say, I like this, I want extras of that. Oh, they haven't put in their multiples yet. Back to mushroom, sorry. That means that supplier hadn't put in their multiples yet, but that's okay. So we'll add to cart, we'll add to cart, we'll add to cart, adding these different products. Okay. So now I go to my cart, and in my cart, I'm going to see all those orders that I just started building. With this, one of the pieces of information you'll be asked for is to put in your minimums, your minimum opening order. If the customer didn't meet that, this would be yellow instead of green, and then they'd be able to go back into that supplier in order to add more.
It would be red, sorry, Art, just to
Sorry,
clarify.
red. It'll be red. Oh, they haven't put in the rest of that information. I keep picking a bad example. Continue shopping. So this brings me back to Atlas Screen Products, where I had, let's say I hadn't yet filled out the full order. I hadn't gotten there yet, so then I can go back and I can add things to the order. So it's going to send them in that direction. This, I think, is an incredibly powerful tool for museum buyers. They can buy both by brand, and they can buy a theme or an image that they're looking for. And I think that's most of what I wanted to show right now. Oh, except for going to the checkout. When they check out, They can check out individually with each order, verifying all of their information. They can do these one at a time. They'll be able to save them as they're building an order for an exhibit. These will sit in their cart. They'll also have access to their order history and a lot of other tools. I don't know if I have anything in my order history, but they would have, because I'm not a store, but here they'd be able to have access to see their orders. They'll be able to see the line items. This is going to be a great dashboard for them. So I just wanted to give you a quick little shot of what's in here and what it'll look like. We're pretty excited. But suffice to say that you're going to want to have by November 10th, you're going to want to have your presence. You're going to want to have your lifestyle image. You're going to want to have your transit file in. You're going to want to use content management and this additional information that we're going to ask you that Callie's going to show you with this link that we're going to send out an email after this also with your minimum order quantity, your shipping preferences, and a bit about the payment terms. But then you'll be good to go. And on November 10th, we're going to be doing a webinar for the retailers, for the members, and they're going to start shopping. Okay, Callie, back to you.
All right, thank you, Ari. So I did get my screen all back and functioning for you guys. Sorry about that. This is why sometimes clearing your cache and everything is super helpful. So now at least you guys know how to do that going forward. I'm gonna go ahead and take the presenter back. So just to kind of show you, this is what Ari was referencing in terms of some of the follow-up materials and everything that you're going to get. You'll get access to a link to this page so that you can set the payment method, shipping method, order minimum, and then the reorder amounts. That'll allow us to set everything up for you appropriately. So look out for this and get this information over to us as soon as you can. I think November 6th is really that date and everything that's been set. So by next Friday, should give you plenty of time. And it's just this quick form that you're going to have to fill out. One other thing, I have seen a good deal of you that have actually already started signing up and becoming a Brandwise Insider already, but you guys did have a lot of good questions surrounding some of the future functionality and everything that's going to be coming to the MSA Marketplace, Passport, and so forth. So if you haven't already signed up already, I recommend that you just search for Brandwise Insiders on Facebook. This will keep you up to date. We referenced the conference that we did earlier this week. If you didn't attend with us live, you can watch all the recordings and everything from it. That'll give you a better idea of some of the functionality and everything that's coming. When you have been on the phone with our support team, they may be referencing the Marketplace as Reach 2.0. It's because it is built on the same type of platform, but the MSA Marketplace is still its own entity, its own identity. But this will at least give you some idea around how this works. Thank you. I see you guys are already starting to sign up. And then you can just engage with a lot of the other people that are within the Brandwise ecosystem. We have over 700 people that are in here. So it just kind of gives you an idea. If you have specific questions that maybe don't necessarily require a support call, but you just kind of want to know how other people are doing things, then you're able to kind of come in here and do any of that. And in a lot of those sessions, we speak a lot about the future functionality that you're going to have, as well as some of the existing functionality that exists on these sites. So if you do have any questions or anything around that, this is just a good way to get engaged. And I think that's really it that I wanted to cover in terms of those regards. I see that you have some questions.
Yep. There's one here that says, I'm not sure if I understand the part where I can upload, I believe it's supposed to say lifestyle image, but it says mood image, picture and text from my profile. Will I be doing it myself, or do I need to send the image and text by mail and you do it? So we do have a link in that vendor guide. It's step number 7 on how to transmit your lifestyle image. And it's just a link that you click on to access the upload form. So you will be uploading your lifestyle image yourself. And that we'll get a notification and we'll upload it on our side to the MSA Marketplace.
Yeah, and as soon as this functionality, so right now you guys are going to this link and everything. So you're still technically uploading your image and everything here. It's just that we're the ones that are populating it for you. So once you've uploaded your image, then we're getting it put up onto the site for you for now. But as Todd was mentioning, in the next few weeks, you're going to be able to have access to do this for yourself directly from your Passport dashboard. So in the future, when you're going to make any of these types of changes, you'd be under your business name, you'd go over into business profile, and instead of having all this white space, you'll be able to see your lifestyle image here, you'll see your brand profile, and so forth. If you're having questions around what that brand profile is, just to reference one more time, this button here is the show brand profile. Instead of this being white space, this is where we're going to have information around your brand, the minimum order requirements and the minimum reorder requirements. So when a retailer is going through, they have complete visibility into how everything works specifically for you. And then there's a few questions. Todd, if you can kind of speak to this a little bit too, in terms of being able to actively connect with buyers, how exactly that aspect of it's going to work.
Yep. So the way it's going to work now is by you guys communicating via email to your buyers, promoting them to come to the site. But what Passport is designed to do as we go forward is to allow a communications tool within your Passport so that you can message retailers, you can reach out to them, you can do all of that stuff through Passport. But as we get this launched, it'll be just a campaign. So between what MSA will do and what you guys do to get your retailers to the site, and Callie and Megan can certainly help with messaging on what to let them know and how they're going to get there and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how that will work for now. I also see a question from Vicky on if I uploaded an image previously, will that cause any issues? And Vicky, I don't know if you're talking about the lifestyle image, but if you don't see it on the site or you didn't see it on the site, you may want to send that to us again just to make sure I get it loaded. But if you see it on there, then you should be good to go. If that's what you're requesting. If you're thinking about something else, just type in the window what you were thinking about. Changes to one product, I upload that line on my template. Kelly, yeah, and to the question of the file, if you have a change to one product, you still upload the entire product. And what you'll see is, let's say that you have 500 products you upload and you only change one. When you get to the last step to complete, it's going to tell you that you uploaded 500 products, 499 didn't change and one did. And it'll send that whole file through, which is what you want to do. So you always want to upload the whole file. I do offer free shipping. Let's see, on the question of minimum. So you want to set with that form that Callie just showed with regards to payment methods and shipping methods, you want to give us what your default is going to be. If you do different things with free shipping offers and stuff like that, because of the way that it's a retailer facing site right now where they can kind of pick and choose, you want to do that in your backend system. So set your default and then you can update that however you want once you get the order. Otherwise, everybody's going to pick free shipping, obviously, from the drop-down list. So you want to just give us what your standard shipping method is or your standard payment method. And it could be something like on file or whatever. It just depends on how you do your business that way. Can we resubmit new lifestyle images, product images? You can upload product images anytime that you want. Those will update correctly. Your lifestyle image, the idea is once we get that in your hands in the next few weeks to where you guys can upload the lifestyle image, then you'll be able to do whatever frequency you like. If you do it now and you send a different lifestyle image, let's say you sent one today and you send another one next week, we just are going in and manually manipulating it, which if you need to do that, that's fine. Just send them through and I can update them. And then you guys will log into the, you'll go to shopmuseumstoreassociation.bwwweb.net, which we can send you that link if you don't already have it. Once you're connected to the MSA website, and then when you log in, that's where you'll see your brand. So you'll see your images if they're uploaded and your lifestyle image and all that kind of stuff. Claire, that's how you'll see that.
Yeah, and Claire, if you're uploading, you're going into content management to actually go in here and upload your product images. So from your Passport dashboard, you're clicking on content. It'll open in a separate tab, and then you'll go to upload, and then upload your images here using this upload feature. I think most everything else has been answered for you guys live. Oh, you've uploaded and can't see the images? Depending
So
on when you upload, it can take up to 24 hours to process, or it could be that caching issue like I was having earlier with my browser. But if you want to speak to that too, Tom.
yeah, I was just going to say, I assume that you see products on there. So you want to make sure you get your products uploaded first and then your images. So if your images got uploaded before your products, you may need to upload the images again if it's been more than 24 hours, because we match them up when they get uploaded.
And I think there was,
Oh,
oh, go ahead. I was
if
going to
you're
say,
just trying to, you can talk first.
I think there's just one more question that we might have missed. So why don't you finish your thought, Callie, and then I'll go over this one.
Okay. Claire, I can also, it sounds like you have a few questions. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you really quick just so that you can kind of clarify and we can make sure to answer this appropriately for you. So you should have the ability to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks very much, Kelly. I'm just sort of switching back and forth between screens right now. So I'm not sure where I should be to actually see the images. I've got Transit open and content. I think you go into, yeah, I've got here catalogs in progress, catalogs complete, and nothing's coming up. So
Yeah, so if you want to see the images that you previously uploaded and you've already uploaded the product file in Transit, which it sounds like you did, you would just go into Passport, and then you should see right now, because of the Passport I'm signed into, I can shop VW webinar training, and that's where I'm going to have browse only mode. But you should see your connection here to the Museum Store Association.
yes, I do, yeah.
If you click on that shop button, it'll take you into that site, and then you should be able to see what your products would look like there.
Okay, isn't that interesting? Oh, they're there. Oh goodness, I don't know what it is about the instructions. I seem to be somewhat dyslexic about all of this process, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. I can see them now.
Awesome.
Good.
They're all there. That's terrific. Almost
That's great.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm glad we got that figured out for you.
Yeah, so am I. Thank you.
And I'm wondering, Lacey, if you're having the same, doing the same thing that Claire was. So if you go through those same steps, I'll just know if you're also able to see your images.
And Lacey, I gave you the ability to unmute yourself just in case it is a different issue.
All right. Lacey, what line is it that you're uploading for? Original source. Yep. So I've got, if you should be able to get there and we can work with you on that. But if you get into your Passport and you click that shop now button, I do see all of your products in there.
Yeah, and I'm showing them here on the screen. So there's only a few that it looks like you're missing.
Yeah.
But you are in a pretty good spot so far. Everything's looking pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, once we get that lifestyle image, we'll get that loaded up.
Yeah, and you should be able to see this then too from, again, if you wanted to see that, you'd go to your Passport and you'd make sure that you're under your supplier connection to original source. You should see your connection to the Museum Store Association. When you click shop, that's where you're going to be able to see that browse only mode. Perfect. I think we've gotten to most of the questions and everything that you guys have had, but if there's anything else that you want to review before we sign off today, that's why we're all here for you.
I think there was one that we missed. It says, if I carry and want to offer multiple brands, is there a way to separate them? I don't want them all bundled up on one screen in the market.
Yeah, so I answered that question for him, but basically if you have multiple brands that you want separated, and I said to contact you, Megan, and you can get that ticket in, but basically we'll set you up as 2 brands on the site, and then you'll have 2 different suppliers underneath your Passport, and you'll upload the product files appropriately, but we can walk you through that one. That's a little bit of an edge case.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time today. We'll make sure that you get access to all the follow-up materials. So if you're still kind of working through some of this process, that you have everything you need to kind of continue at it. For those of you that are well on your way, thank you so much for that. I know that you guys are going to be hugely benefited once the MSA site launches on November 10th. But thank you guys so much for taking time out on a Friday to join us today. If you run into any other questions, feel free to reach out to us as you have been already. But thank you again for your time. Megan, I don't know if you have any other closing notes.
Nope, you guys will be seeing probably more communication from me next week as I check in on the site, and probably just send out individual emails to kind of prompt you guys to finish up the process so we can have a successful launch on the 10th. But thank you, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And Lacey, it looks like you had one other question that came through, so just want to make sure we answer that for you really quick. Will I be able to see everything once I have the lifestyle image uploaded? The lifestyle image shouldn't be affecting you, so if you don't see the lifestyle image uploaded, if that's part of the issue, instead of, I'm just going to show you on here, the site's not going to look as pretty as the MSA site is, but let's say I didn't have this image here, you can actually just click on your name here, and then it'll still open up your products and everything for you. So that might give you that better view.
Yeah. If you still have issues, if you still can't get in, Lacey, just let us know. You can email Megan and she can help you get logged in, make sure that you're getting to the right place.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend. And we look forward to continuing to work with you guys over the next few weeks so you can have a successful launch.
Yep. Thanks. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye-bye.